Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Cindy here from CLB Craft Creations, and this is the card project we're going to be making. It's featuring the Painted Petals set that's in our Occasions catalog. This is actually a very popular set. I'm using the photopolymer set, and this is actually not my original card design, although I did tweak it a little bit to accommodate my colors and some of my style. So I do want to give credit to, I believe it was Sandi McIver, who had, it's actually a very similar design. I don't think it's the exact same design, but we're going to go ahead and recreate this one. And we're going to get started with a piece of pistachio pudding, which measures 4 1/4 by 3. And then I have a piece of Whisper White that is 4 by 2 1/4. And I'm going to go ahead and take my dots here, and those up, and I'm going to use the pistachio pudding ink that up, and then just going to take it going long ways, just put these down just to the edge, and then stamp again. Just needs about 3 of them. Okay, that's done. So that piece is done. Now we'll bring in our piece of Whisper White, and I'm going to take the cluster of flowers with my Rose Red. This is actually a color that I don't think actually gets used very often, but I actually really love it. So, okay, so I'm going to take those clusters, and as you can see from my original, I obviously want the center to be where I put my sentiment, and then I'm going to build the flowers up around it. So, just stamp right down here. And you can put these in any direction that you want. And that looks very dark right now going on, but when you let it dry, it does dry much lighter. Okay, that's done. Just that 2 sets makes a huge difference. I'm going to take my soft suede and go ahead and stamp the sentiment in the middle, and then I can do the leaves. So we're just going to use the thank you sentiment. I'm just going to put that, and you probably could have done this step actually first, but I didn't think about it actually. Okay, so there you go. Sentiment is there, and again, that'll lighten up quite a bit too. I'm going to take one of the smaller of the 2 leaf images. There's actually 2 in this set, and this one's a little bit smaller. So I'm going to take that with the pistachio pudding, and then I'm just going to kind of fill in where I think it makes sense to have leaves in both sets here. And I did also want to use this little cluster of leaves as well, because I wanted to have those kind of coming down to kind of frame around the thank you. Now this one, it looks like I may have lined it up a little bit differently, but we'll see if we can make that work. That works. And then maybe I can do this set right there. That'll work. So it's a little different. Again, you want to make sure that when you're putting these in, that they are in a space that actually makes sense, and not just putting them there to put them there. So, you know what, I think I'm going to leave it just like that. Okay, so that part is done. Now I can actually go ahead and attach that. I have fast fuse here, so I'm just going to use the fast fuse. But you can use regular snail, it's fine. Even if you want to pop this up. Now I am going to pop it up on the actual card, but for this piece, I'm just going to secure that down with regular adhesive. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put the dimensionals on here right now just to get that out of the way. So 1 in each corner should be adequate. And then we will set this aside. So there you go, you can see the finished piece here. And now we will go and start stamping the actual card base. My card base, as usual these days, seems to be my standard, is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And I'm going to bring in a piece of Post-it note tape. And I am going to line this up with the bottom of my grid paper. Get some room here on my desk. So I'm going to line it up right there at the bottom edge of my grid paper. Make sure that the edge is completely lined up. And then I'm just going to kind of eyeball a good 2/3. And then I'm going to take one of these lines here and I'm going to match it up on both sides so that it's even. Okay, I'm going to do this one right here. Should go up one. And then I want to make sure that I go to the same line on the other side. Now obviously when you're doing this you want to make sure that you're using the right length. So this, I may actually have to adjust this. Let's make sure that this, okay, so it's just perfect. Now you can see on my original that I didn't use as much. But this actually works out good too, because now it'll be a little higher on the card. Again, it doesn't always have to be perfect, doesn't have to be the same. I've got these little confetti pieces all over the place. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my pistachio pudding ink and I'm just going to line that up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start my first one with the first stripe. And then because I have the photopolymer set, it's very easy to line these up to make sure that you're even spacing them. And because they're kind of a whimsical watercolor attempt, if they're not perfect, no one would even notice anyway, because they're slightly imperfect as it is. So again, I'm just going to stamp this all the way across. And because we masked off that top piece, they'll be perfectly straight at the top, which is awesome. Okay, so that piece is done. And we are almost finished with our card. Okay, get that off. I'm going to go back with the dots again. And I'm done actually with the pistachio pudding. I'm going to bring in my rose red. Go ahead and peel that. Now you see how perfectly straight across the top that is? I love it. Okay, and now I'm just going to, like I said, I'm going to take my rose red, ink that up, and then I'm just going to run that right across the top. And you've got that straight edge from the lines that you just stamped to line it up with. Voila! So, now I probably should have actually done that first, because now I want to wrap some pistachio pudding around it and tie it in a bow. So hopefully I can do this quickly and not bore you guys to tears trying to tie a bow on camera. Now I am going to stay away from that rose red just because it's very wet looking still. I don't know why that rose red is, at least my ink pad, is very juicy. Okay, just tie a simple bow. Maybe. Okay, that's terrible. Try that again. Okay, and then you just make it the size that you want. That loop a little bit bigger. Bring your tails down. Okay, that needs to be a little smaller. I wish there was an exact science to making bows. Now I'm going to scooch that up, and I want it over to the side, and I wanted it right at the top of those pistachio pudding lines. And like I said, I'm just pulling my strings down below. And I do want to kind of leave them a little long. I think that looks really pretty actually. So I'm just going to cut them so that they're a little longer. And I am actually going to secure that knot underneath with a glue dot. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to roll it. Just kind of roll it off of the spool there. And then I'm just going to tucked it underneath that knot and secured that down. Now I already got my dimensionals on the back of this, so I'm going to take those off. And we will secure that over here. Now what I'm doing is I'm kind of trying to center this on the 3 sides. Obviously my knot is right there too, but I want a little bit of the rose red to show here and then the rest on the other side. So I'm really more focusing on top to bottom centering it. And we're done. So if you wanted to, obviously, if you wanted to stamp something inside, you could do that as well. I wanted to leave this one blank. But there you go, quick and easy. And I do actually like the longer tails on that too. I think with the lines it kind of helps bring it in the length. So there you have it. There's a finished card project for you. It was fairly quick and easy. I hope you'll give this technique a try. And you'll join me for my next video. Please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment. See you soon.